Blessings, beloveds. Anastasia with you again today. So the moon's in Aquarius today, which is my actual natal moon, and Aquarius is definitely the sign of astrology. So I've been wanting to do this video for the last few days, and energetically there seems to be a lot going on collectively. And yesterday my mind was absolutely buzzing. I had all this material and content racing around in my mind, and physically I just couldn't sit down to actually do the video. So anyway, I'm feeling a little bit more settled today energetically, and here I am. So what I've decided to talk about is something that's fundamentally crucial and the absolute fundamental building blocks of astrology. If you don't understand this aspect of astrology, you won't actually understand astrology at all, okay? So here it is, the 4 elements. Now, there's actually 5 elements, okay? But in terms of the 4 astrological elements that are seen in astrology, we're talking about water, earth, air, and fire. They're the 4 elements, okay? So the 12 zodiac signs are a combination, are either one of those elements, okay? The fire and air signs are masculine, and the earth and water are feminine in nature. And before we get started on the actual 4 elements, I just want to start by talking about the 5th element, which is present, and without it we actually wouldn't be here anyway. One of the words that is often used for it is chi, which comes from the Eastern system and school of thought. And the chi energy, which is another word, is life force, is present within every single living human being, whether it's a human being or whether it's an animal for that matter. So the chi life force energy runs through the chakras and the meridian systems in the body, and as I said, without it we wouldn't actually be here. So that's the primary force. However, we cannot see that force, okay? We cannot see the chi energy, but we know that it exists. We know that it breathes us. We know that it is everywhere, because without it we just couldn't be here. Okay, so the chi force is primary. Now, within nature, we see the other 4 elements very, very clearly, which is air, which in terms of how it works in our physical body, well, the air sign, or the air element rather, is what breathes our lungs. So without air we wouldn't be able to breathe. The water element is the fluids in the blood, the lymphatic nodes in the body. The earth is the bones, the skeletal structure of our body that makes up our body. And fire is the heart. It's the heart energy and the spirit, the heart basically. So we can see the 4 elements being expressed through our physical vehicle, the body, and we can also see those elements out in nature very clearly. Without them, there'd be no life, there'd be no movement. Now, just going back to the chi energy, so Alice Bailey has a really beautiful quote, which I think really nails the expression of the chi energy and the subsequent elements, which is fire, earth, air, and water, and that they actually are infused with this chi energy and subsequently expressed expressed. So anyway, her quote is, there is but one substance present, of intensity and of vibratory activity. This substance is impelled by urgent purpose and is expressive of divine intent. It's a beautiful quote. You may have to pause that, listen to it again, and just kind of reflect on it. So she's talking about the chi energy there. Another word is ether, which is the 5th element. Life force, ether, chi, Yeah, there's probably lots of other words too. But I just wanted to mention that because I actually posted a comment on my Facebook page asking people what was their primary element in their birth chart, what was their dominating element, and were they aware of what it was. And many people commented, and certainly many people knew what their dominant element was. And what I'm going to also talk about today is if we are, what our strongest element may be and what that means, and also what if we're lacking in a particular element or elements. You know, how does that live out through our chart? How's that expressed in our life in terms of how we relate to life and engage with life? Because it's, you know, there's very clear distinctions with having too much fire, too little fire, too much earth, etc. Okay, so I guess what I want to show you guys just very quickly on my whiteboard. I bought a new one today because the other one sucked. It wasn't very good. Okay, this looks the same, but it's better quality. So what I've done here is I've just drawn the zodiac in the natural order, starting from Aries, ending to Pisces, and I'm just indicating to you the houses and the signs, which are, it starts at fire, then goes to earth, then air, then water, and it just follows through in that particular order. Okay, so you can just have a quick look there. Where am I? So, yeah, Aries. Okay, so I've just drawn the symbols. I'm hoping that you're all familiar with the astrological symbols. So you've got fire, Aries, earth, Taurus, air, Gemini, Cancer, water, Leo, fire, Virgo, earth, Libra, air, Scorpio, water, Sag, fire, Capricorn, earth, air, Aquarius, and last but not least, Pisces, water. Okay, so they're the 12 signs and they are the 12 houses, and as you can see, they run in a very specific order, and it starts from fire, earth, air, water, fire, earth, air, water, and it just follows through. And it's really important to understand what that even means, because the actual 12 zodiac signs are essentially a stage of development that is unfolding in the human being. So the first fire sign is different to the second fire sign. The first fire sign is Aries, the second fire sign is Leo, and the third fire sign is Sagittarius. And they all have obviously the common factor being fire. So what is fire? Let's perhaps just start with that. Fire is that energy, first of all, that physical drive and energy that makes one feel alive. It's confidence, it's expansion, it's expressive, it's freedom, it's independence, it's confidence. I think I said that. So fire is what actually enables us to express our energy outwardly. So fire is a masculine sign, as I said before, and so is air. They're both masculine. Because why? Because they push out. So it's a masculine energy, okay? Okay, so moving from fire very quickly just to... actually just go back to fire for a moment. It's the fire signs that really give that beautiful energy and confidence and strength, and encourage people to achieve things, to do things, to go for things. Fire needs to feel alive through movement and action and achievement, and to be recognized as well. That's, you know, fire signs need to be heard and seen. You know, they're not quiet. So if you're engaging with a group of people, it's and say all the elements are present very strong in, you know, a group of 4 or 5 people, it's very easy to pick the fire signs and the earth signs and the air signs and the water signs once you start really observing and paying attention. And I guess the best place to start is, within your own chart, because the elements, not only do they exist within all of us simultaneously, and as I said before, some of us might be stronger in a particular element and weaker in another one. That also comes through in our life. But when you're looking at your birth chart and you're looking at the planets in your birth chart, one of the main things that you need to be looking at is, what element is my sun in? What element is my moon in? What element is Mercury in? So there's you understanding the nature of how the planets work and what they symbolize and what they mean. You need to know what element is in what element is Mercury in, for example, in your chart. Because if you have Mercury in a fire element, well, that Mercury is your communication and how you speak and how you articulate, and how you share your thoughts and your ideas and things like that. So in a fire sign, it's going to operate very different to a water sign, right? So it's really important to know the elements that all your planets are in, particularly the personal planets: Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter. Okay, they're the personal planets. Now, air, as I said, is the movement, the masculine external energy, that the people that really go for it, achieve, are very active. In order for a fire sign to feel alive, because let me just step back for a moment. So the sun in our chart is the masculine light of the chart, okay? And the moon is the lunar light of the chart. Now, the sun is our life force, okay? It's our heart energy, and it's that spirit energy, and it's what speaks through us very, very strongly. So whatever element our sun is in, we need to be really in contact, really in tune, really in touch with that element. So if you're a fire sign, a sun fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, you would need to be incredibly active and doing things on that external level, and taking risks and taking on challenges and creating things and expressing your energy and being creative. The fire signs are really creative, and just operating from that level. Because when you're not doing those things, what is going on is that you're out of touch with your sun element, which, when we're not in touch with the element of our sun, it feels like there is something about us that is shut down. We don't feel alive, as it were. The sun is our life force, primary life force. So whatever element it's in, we need to be expressing that element. So if your sun was in a water sign, now water is very different to fire. It's feminine, and it is an internal energy. So water is fluid, right? So it changes shape. It's what I'm trying to say is it's connected to our moods, our emotions, our feeling nature. So as a water sign, you need to be connected to the world of feelings and emotions, but feelings. If you're not connected to your feelings, then you're not feeling like you are alive. Literally, something's shut down. The element that our sun sign is in is our expression of our life force, how we operate in life, how we experience life, how we relate to life, how we relate to people. So as a fire sign person, you would relate to people very enthusiastically, with confidence. excitement, wanting to have fun and do stuff, and where's the party happening, and let's go and do something, let's go climb a mountain, let's go run a marathon, let's fly to the other side of the world. It's that spontaneous energy that enthuses people. That's fire. Now water, as I said, is the inner world of feelings. So water people are a lot more standoffish because they are so sensitive by their very nature that they are really absorbing everything around them wherever they are. So water sign people, super sensitive, can be super psychic, clairvoyant, really affected by other people's moods, really affected by their own moods. Moods fluctuate quite a bit. That's water. That's the nature of water. So water sign people, they don't like to be in loud, busy places where there's a lot of action happening. You'll notice that water sign people, they're more reclusive, they're a bit more withdrawn, they're certainly a lot more reflective. They need to go into that sort of quiet inner world or quiet space where they can, it's a bit of an escapism. Like water has the ability to really enter other realms and other worlds within. So yeah, it's that, that person who is comfortable with their feelings, maybe not all the time, because, feelings and emotions can take us into very different states of being and consciousness and awareness, So when we're a feeling person, we feel everything. We feel the sadness. We feel a bunch of different emotions throughout the day consistently. It's like this wave just going off. So, the events of the world, the relationships we have with people, the environment we work in, all that stuff really, we just take to it, and we are affected. Our mood is affected by it. So water people are the feelers. They feel everything, okay? And they tend to spend more time on their own. As I said, they're reclusive, can be, and more withdrawn. So they don't need to be around busy places and people and just chatting and all that sort of stuff. They'll be very content sitting at home with a glass of wine and a few candles and maybe some music, and just kind of chilling out in that kind of atmosphere. So water people are, they're more inner, reflective people. The air people, well, they're the communicators. They're the ones that love to socialize. They love to share knowledge and ideas and connect with people and socialize and what's happening there, and what was so and so doing, and and just all that sort of stuff. It's out there. Air is masculine and it's out there, so it circulates out there. It engages. It connects on that mental conceptual sphere. And obviously, the three air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And of course, each stage of those three air signs operates quite differently, from one to the next. So Gemini is like the infant that begins to talk, for example. When you've got a toddler and they begin to play around with words and language, obviously they're just picking up from what they're hearing around them. That's that curiosity they have, and that real sort of excitement and desire to speak. That's Gemini. That's why you can't shut Geminis up generally. They just love to talk, and they get very distracted, and they jump from this subject to the next subject, and so it's all over the shop. But they are brilliant with absorbing knowledge, information, sharing ideas, and all that sort of stuff. So they're the networkers. And then Libra, the next sign, next air sign, again, that operates very differently. That's got quite a strong level of maturity, because it's gone through from Gemini, it's gone to Cancer, and then to Leo, and then to Virgo, and then to Libra. So Libra is all about that one-on-one relating. It's about how do I relate with another human being? How do I communicate with another human being? How do I share that part of myself in a relationship? How do I build relationships? What sort of relationships do I build? Do I find relationships easy? The world of relationships is Libra, period. All aspects of relationships. So, and then you go to Aquarius, and it's that humanitarian air sign that wants to connect the world. It's that oneness. It's, you know, the collective is a family. We're all in it together. Let's help each other. Let's, you know, let's all bring our ideas together, and let's, you know, create, and, you know, all that sort of stuff. So every air sign, every water sign, every earth sign, every fire sign are all operating at a different stage. But they are, the thing that they have in common, as I said in the beginning, is the fact that they are either, they're all air, they're all fire, they're all earth, and they're all water. Now, if this is basic stuff, right? But it's super important to know, because you could be a fire sign, as in a sun sign, as in having your sun in Aries, Leo, or Sag. Now, I'll use my example with my own chart, because I know my own chart quite well. So I'm a sun sign Aries, I'm a fire sign, okay? And yes, I do have the typical Aryan traits to a very large degree. But my sun is in the 4th house. That's the Cancer house, the water house. And in fact, I have a lot of planets in the 4th house. And I also have quite a few planets in the 12th house. So what I'm getting at is that 4th house and the 12th house, they're water houses. So it's the water element. So a big part of my life has always been about withdrawing, reflecting, stepping back, and being quite reclusive as well. I can be really social because I've got Aquarius rising, and I've got my moon in Aquarius, and this is all the astrology, and I can share it and communicate it, and I'm very enthusiastic about it and all that sort of stuff. But having downtime and having quiet time and having still time, water is stillness. It's that quiet, still space that often people get into through the practice of yoga and meditation, for instance. There are other practices, of course, but I'm using the two main ones that I guess I use myself in my own life. So you can be a sun sign, in other words, a fire sun sign, sorry, but you may not come across like that in a very typical way. And, you know, I think this explains why, this is partially why, you know, all Aries are not the same, all Aquarians are not the same, etc., etc. Because we need to look at, well, where are the planets in our chart? Are they in a water house? Are they in a fire house? You know, that's going to speak volumes about how we are expressing, relating, sharing, living, learning, all that sort of stuff. Just backtracking a little bit, going to the earth signs, I didn't actually cover them. Now, earth is all about stability, responsibility, it's a bit of the daily grind, if you like. But on a more positive level, it's, you know, the earth signs have they have reality, this 3D reality, down to pat. They are very connected to the earth, and on a positive level, it's very attractive in the sense where earth signs are really grounded, they're really stable, they're really reliable. Give them a list, they love lists, especially Virgo. Virgo is a list person. They just love to tick things off. I've done this, I've done that, I've done that, that's my day, boom, gone, finished. So the earth signs are the practical people, the ones that like to have order and create in the physical material world. They identify with the material world. Water signs identify with the emotional body and world. Fire signs identify with that fire, spirit, freedom energy and independence. They really need that. Air signs identify with their thoughts and their ideas. So back to Earth. The best of Earth is that they are really reliable, really practical, really grounded, and they just get shit done. That's just what they do. They do that really well. Now, just want to jump back to water signs for a moment. Water signs, Cancer is the mother, it's the womb, it's that birthing process and pre-birth when we were in the womb. That's Cancer. So if you think about Cancer in that sense, you might understand why Cancers can feel quite insecure. It's the first emergence of water, the first emergence of this physical encounter experience with the earth. So for 9 months we're in this safe, warm, fluid environment in our mother's womb. And, then we suddenly are pushed out into this earthly plane. It feels quite alien. So there's a sense of insecurity because that safety and security feels like it's been disconnected in a way. It's been cut off, once we come out into the world. So Cancerians are super sensitive and can feel quite insecure in that way. So they're very protective of their family, actually, because Cancer is family. So the fourth house is always associated with our family. And if you jump to Scorpio, the next water sign, that's the deepest sort of level that one can go to on that feeling intense level of discovering the depths of perhaps who we are, why we're here, what do we connect to. And Scorpio is it's, even though it's a water sign and it's really sensitive, it's not sensitive like Pisces and Cancer. Scorpio is a really tough sign, actually. It's one of the toughest signs in the zodiac, and Scorpio can deal with intensity to the absolute extreme, to the absolute. They are the people that deal with crises in life. Give Scorpio a crisis situation to deal with, and they're on it like that. They're not going to shy away. They're a really tough sign, but they feel things with incredible depth and intensity, and it can become like very obsessive, that the world of feelings for them as well. And Pisces, it's the dreamers. Very creative sign. When it comes to music and the world of artistry, Pisces is up there. So is Taurus, for that matter. So Venus ruled signs are very much about the world of artistry, but so is Pisces and its ruler Neptune. Neptune and Pisces rules glamour. And what is glamour? It's an illusion. And there are some, really great examples, actually, of famous, artists, movie stars, singers who have really strong Neptune in their chart. So I'm going off track a bit here, but it just came up. It came up. So I was talking about Pisces, how they are the people who know how to really escape this world, this 3D reality. And the thing is this, Pisces is the two fish, which I'm sure the majority of you know. And I don't know if you've noticed this, perhaps you have, but Pisces is bound by an actual cord. The two fish are bound by a cord. And what that actually symbolizes is that the Pisces personality knows that they are in this physical body. They've incarnated in this physical body, which feels completely alien to them. Pisces would have to be the sign that is the most uncomfortable with this earth plane and this physical body. It's just so not Pisces, that's why. It's otherworldly. And so the fish being bound by the cord, one aspect of the Pisces personality is here, connected to this earth plane, and that's one fish. And the other fish has this incredible longing. It's almost a sadness a deep sadness of a memory of a much more beautiful world and existence, where there is peace and love and compassion and empathy, and kindness, and you know, those beautiful Piscean qualities. Pisces is naturally like that. It's just innate, inherent within them. They don't really know how to be any different. So you can see why they would be so super sensitive in really violent, aggressive, conflicting environments. They'd just be like, get me out of here, get me out of here. I'm going to go home now, thanks, see you later. So yeah, every sign operates differently in terms of its element, because it's a different stage of development in what Carl Jung coined the individuation process in this human experience. So it's really cool to know what is your dominant element and what is your weakest element, because if you are, for example, if there's too much fire in your chart, you by your very nature, you really need to be very active and very physical. But at the same time, if you've got way too much fire, you're likely to burn out, because you're just on 100%. Go, 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 go. And it's like, imagine having drunk 10 Red Bulls. I don't know if you ever have. I don't think I've ever drunk 10, but I don't even drink Red Bull. But back in the day when I had tried Red Bull, I'm a fire sign, so you know, I had one and my feet weren't even touching the ground, so to speak. So triple fire. Let me just, sorry, my mind goes, I've got Mercury in Aries, so my mind races really far ahead, and I have to kind of pull back and wait for my mouth to catch up to what's going on. So I was just going to say, what is too much fire? Let's just define that. So you could be a triple fire, as in sun in fire, moon in fire, and ascendant in fire sign. That's triple fire. You could also have that as triple water. So sun in water, moon in water, ascendant in water, etc., etc. That is too much fire, too much water, too much earth, too much air. Now, if you've got too much fire, as I said, burnout. That's the classic case. It's also aggression, because fire is our ability to get angry. Now, anger is not welcome in the Western world, particularly, in other places as well, in the East. What I'm trying to say is that anger in a dysfunctional way, of course it's not welcome, because anger in a dysfunctional way can be, you know, violent. It can be, it hurts other people. It's not good. But what's happened in the Western society is that, you know, we've pushed fire, anger, so far away, in the sense where it's been decided that if you get angry, you need anger management. You don't have the right to express your anger. If you're a woman, forget about it. Oh, she's an angry woman. So if you're working in a professional environment and field as a woman, you can't express your anger. You'll get judged for it. You'll get shut down. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. So, but look, there's unhealthy anger and then there's healthy anger. And fire sign people, they need to express their anger. Okay, everyone really needs to express it, but water signs and earth signs, they'll be passive aggressive. They don't really know how to express their anger. So the water sign will hold their anger in, and they'll go and do some passive aggressive vacuuming or something like that. They'll just be like, you'll see it in their face, but they won't be talking about it. They won't be letting it out, and you'll see it in their body language and so forth. Same with the earth signs. They're not particularly expressive with anger either. It's more internal. So when we internalize something that needs to be expressed, well, what happens? Something unhealthy eventually manifests, doesn't it? holding on to anger is a place of dis-ease. So where do diseases come from? Well, there's many answers to that actually. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that if we're not expressing who we are, and we're not expressing our feelings, we're not expressing our passion, we're not expressing what we're angry about. If we're angry about something, we've got an opinion on something, we've got a thought on something, we've got a feeling on something. We need to express it as fire signs. So, water. If you've got too much water, too much water is very challenging too, because what happens is the person really withdraws from life, people, relationships, and water is the element that would be connected to depression, mild depression to clinical depression. So yeah, too much water, not that great. It just, the person really goes into a place that's actually not very happy. So that needs to be balanced out as well. Too much water is also, extremely sensitive people, that really, and, someone who's got too much fire will say to the person who's got too much water, "Oh, get over it, What are you so sensitive about that for? What's the big deal?" And the fire sign will just be like, let's move on, let's get on with that, And the water sign will be all, just get me out of here. I just want to be alone. Blah blah blah. So yeah, water goes in, fire pushes out. So too much water, oversensitivity, over empathetic, taking on people's crap, energetically, emotionally, absorbing everyone's bullshit. Not funny actually. I've got Venus in Pisces, so it's can be a bit much sometimes. But I know what I have to do for self-care. I know what I have to do to take a step back and withdraw in a healthy way. So too much air is living in the head too much, living in the world of concepts and ideas. Now, the fact is this, that we have over 60,000 thoughts entering our mind daily. Now, imagine if we could hear every one of those thoughts, and imagine if we believed every single one of those thoughts. That's a concoction for insanity, basically, because it is our mind. I should say actually, it is our thoughts that creates the most disturbance and disturbing emotions as well. That's in the mix too. But thoughts and emotions work together. So I think about the fact that I'm sad about XYZ, then I start to feel it in my body. So you can't really separate those two. So where was I? Yeah, too much air. Too much air is living in the world of concepts, and too much air is an over-identification with thoughts. So what I think is XYZ, and I think I'm right because XYZ, and this way of thinking is better, and I have this much knowledge and I have this much understanding, and I know this and I know that because I read this and I read that. And I also heard so-and-so talking about blah, blah, blah. And so now, see, I've read all that, and that's air signs. But on an unhealthy, dysfunctional level, it's anxiety, okay? The air element is what leads to anxiety. Why? Because anxiety is a state where the mind, thoughts are just going haywire, okay? There's no real sense of being centered or clear or directed. It's just thoughts. It's the crazy monkey mind. The monkey mind comes from the practice of yoga. That's often expressed in, when you're practicing yoga and you're wanting to go into stillness and do an asana and, get into that pose. And monkey mind is like, imagine this wild monkey in a jungle just swinging from branch to branch and tree to tree and just going mental. That's the monkey mind. So too much air produces too much thinking, which produces in too much anxiety for a lot of people. So too much air, that's what happens. So talk about too much fire, too much air, too much water. Okay, too much earth. So too much earth is over-identification with the material, physical, earthly plane. Now, what's the problem with that? An earth sign might say, hey, I'm doing good. I've got my checklists happening, and I've got money in the bank, and I've got my house that I live in, and I've got a car, and and I'm blah, blah, blah. So, nothing wrong with any of that. That's not what I'm saying. But an over-identification with earth means an over-attachment to the material. So, earth signs identify who they are through what they own, particularly Taurus. Not so much Virgo. Virgo is very different, actually, to Taurus. And so is Capricorn, for that matter. But certainly Taurus identifies with the material world the most, okay? So what's the problem with that? I'll tell you what it is in very short and simple terms. Whatever you over-identify with is going to create an imbalance in your life. If you over-identify with the dollars in your bank account, if you over-identify with your job, if you over-identify with your relationship partner, if you over-identify with any and all of your material possessions, well, all the things that I just named are all susceptible to leaving your life beyond your control. Partner can leave you, can lose all your money, can lose your job, can lose your house, can lose all material things. So imagine a triple earth person who's completely identified with the material world, and suddenly they lose their job, they're in debt, so off goes their money, they can't pay the mortgage anymore, so bye-bye house. Imagine what life would be like. I mean, that alone for any human being is a really harsh, difficult experience. There's no question about that. But if you are a triple earth, or you have a lot of earth emphasized in your birth chart, then those aspects of life, if they ever are presented to you, it is beyond crisis. It's like the end of the world for you, so to speak. So, there needs to be a balance with all the elements. There just needs to be a balance. Too much air, too little air. Oh, I didn't talk about too little air. Too little air is the person who actually can't communicate their ideas, really struggle to verbalize and articulate. Doesn't mean that they don't have the ideas and what they want to say in their mind. Of course they do. But if you've got no air in your chart, you're not going to be a communicator. Now, let's say you had water dominating and air lacking. Well, then you would live in the world of feelings. Everything is about how you feel, but you cannot actually articulate it, communicate it, share it. So, that's really challenging for a person who's got a lot of water and very little air. It's like, how do I talk about my feelings? I know what I'm feeling. I can feel it. I can feel the intensity. I can feel the range of feelings and emotions, but I don't know how to share it. I don't know how to speak about it. So these are the sorts of things that I would be looking at if I was doing your reading, for example, and if you had, too much of this or too little of that. We can work with those